Hey everyone, and welcome to my next video. This is all going to be about the pros and cons of selling on Etsy. So a little bit of background about myself. I am an Etsy seller. I've been on Etsy for just over 1 year. I do also sell on other platforms, but I do have to say that about 90% of my overall sales have actually come from Etsy. So overall, I am definitely like yay to Etsy, but it doesn't mean to say that it doesn't have its flaws. So I'm going to be talking about the good bits and the bad bits of selling on there. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the negative side first, just because I always like to end on a high note. But I think one of the biggest topics that have come up in recent weeks is on the Star Seller badge. So for those of you who don't know what it is, from the 1st of September 2021, Etsy sellers will be rewarded a Star Seller badge if they go above and beyond with sort of customer expectations. Now it's based on criteria, which is to respond to first customer messages within 24 hours, to use tracking for your orders or Etsy's own postage labels, or to have reviews, of 5 stars. Now all of these criteria, you have to hit all 3 and at a 95% or higher. So if one of them is just below 95%, then you will not get rewarded the badge. Now, as you can see, this has caused quite a bit of an uproar amongst sellers, because sometimes it's just impossible to hit that criteria, which doesn't mean to say that that seller isn't a star seller. So one example could be you've got a particular seller who usually gets about 10 reviews every 3 months. So the badge, to qualify the badge, it's based on data over the last 3 months. So when this starts in September, it will be based on data for June, July and August. So if you sort of typically get 10 reviews over a 3-month period, you need all 10 to be 5 stars. If one of them is just 4 stars, which is still a great review. There's nothing wrong with 4-star review, and actually the words on that review could be really positive things, like I love the product, great, dispatched on time and a good customer service, etc, etc. But they just give 4 stars because there are a lot of buyers out there who tend to leave 4 stars, and that's fine, but it means that that seller won't then get that badge, which is quite unfair, that they're missing out when actually, in effect, they are a star seller. When you look at it, every single order has always been delivered on time, all the customers are happy with the quality of their products, the customer service that they've received, if they've contacted them, to them they're like, great, you are a fantastic seller, but they don't get this badge. Okay, so Etsy are actually saying that it's not going to affect your search results. So this is in like where you end up on the results page if customers are searching for your type of products. However, their actual quote is to say at this time. So it kind of indicates that at some point in the future, excuse me, it might actually affect where you show in the search results if you do not get this badge, which really, really sucks. As I said in that one example, and there are many, many others, you could have a top performing seller who consistently does really, really well, and then they end up losing out on some sales because they somehow lost this badge. So I know that they have gotten a lot of feedback from thousands of sellers over the last few weeks, and if you are a seller on Etsy and you haven't given feedback yet, I really do strongly suggest you do that. The more voices on this, the better. Hopefully they can, I kind of like the idea of a badge rewarding good sellers, but they really need to change the criteria to make it more realistic as to what actually a star seller is. Okay, so another con, or negative thing about being on Etsy is this sort of fear of your shop disappearing. This has happened quite a few times. Actually, what's happened quite a lot, especially last Christmas, was that a seller would have such an increase in orders, because this is expected, you know, around the Christmas period, orders will go up because a lot of people are buying Christmas presents. And sellers will suddenly go from, you know, a few orders a day to, you know, 10, 20, 30, if not more orders a day. And to Etsy, they're little bots. They're seeing it as, oh, this seller isn't coping. They're not going to be able to get orders out in time, because Etsy wants to protect the customers, as in they don't want customers complaining, oh, you said you dispatched my order in 3 days and it's now been 5 and you haven't dispatched it yet. However, it's not actually giving the seller the chance to actually reach that target or not. You know, a lot of sellers enlist help over the Christmas period. They put processes in place, they work extra hours to ensure that all orders are out in time. And what happens is, if Etsy goes, oh, you're not gonna hit that target, they don't shut your shop, but they stop it being shown in search results. So your shop is still open. You can use it on social media, direct people to there, they can still buy from you, but they can't find you in search results. And I've seen so many sellers the last Christmas period, they lost out thousands of income because their shop went invisible for about 2 or 3 weeks. And then even when they put it visible again, it takes a good few days to actually sort of gain back up in the search results. So it's really, you know, that's something that I'm terrified on, because, you know, I rely on Etsy for my main source of income. So to have it go like that is, yeah, it's something that's really, really scary. And then even more scary level is that they've been known to just shut shops randomly. So I know that there are out there some illegal shops that are perhaps selling copyright items or things that, you know, is banned on Etsy. Fine, they can go because they're not playing by the rules. But there are other shops out there who are playing by the rules, and Etsy will just randomly shut them down. It's a very, very, very small percentage of shops that it will happen to, but it's enough for people to question, going, if this happens, it can take weeks to get your shop back open. And because they see you then as a bad seller, they don't want to talk to you. If you want to contact Etsy to say, oh, hang on, I've not done anything wrong, please can you open my shop back up again, they won't even communicate. Whilst most cases do get resolved and open back up again, you are talking missed sales, as well as the time spent to be seen growing, you know, back up higher in the search results again. So it is quite scary. So a lot of people do say, don't put all your eggs in one basket, as in, don't just have an Etsy shop, do be elsewhere. But yeah, it's something that, you know, I certainly dread that it could ever happen to my shop, and I certainly hope it doesn't happen to others. They need to sort something out so that if it does accidentally happen, that you can still communicate and they can get it back up within, like, you know, 24, 48 hours sort of thing. But yeah, you don't know. So that is definitely a bad side, but I certainly wouldn't let that put you off going on Etsy, as in, you know, for selling, because it's still great. This is just a small percentage that it affects, and try not to think about it and just keep going basically. But yeah, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Do be on other sites as well. Okay, so this next one is a negative, but it's not actually that bad, and that is just that there's only certain limits that you can have with making your Etsy shop your own, with your branding and stuff like that. You know, when you've got your own website, you can get your branding out there with your colour schemes and your fonts. You can add various pages and blogs and stuff like that, really make the website your own project. Whereas with Etsy, whilst you have your own shop, you can, you know, you've got a banner, you've got your about section and your policies. You obviously can, how you word your description, the style of the photos you put up, of course, is all your own. But yeah, you are limited a bit. You know, ideally, if everyone can shop on someone's own website, is so much better. But yeah, so I have put that in the negative category. But but it's not too bad. You know, you just have to make the most of what Etsy has available, because there are buyers out there who do get put off if you don't complete your about section and your policies. It's a small percentage of buyers that are put off by that, but you know what, you don't want to be putting off anybody, especially if it's something that you can easily do by, you know, completing about section. You don't have to write a massive essay, but just a little bit about you and your shop, how you got started, that sort of thing, is just really useful for people to know, as well as other bits. You know, you can get fun creative with your Etsy banner. I use Canva, so that's canva.com, which is an amazing site for creating images, which you can use posts for, like, you know, Instagram, help create logos, like I said, your Etsy banner, which is fantastic. So at least you can, you know, make the most of what they've got and make it, you know, good for your branding as much as possible. Now, my last negative, this is actually what a lot of other people talk about as a negative, but I don't actually see it as that bad a thing. And that is the fees that Etsy charge. Now, yes, it is higher fees than your own website, or if you're selling, you know, directly via Facebook or Instagram. But you know what? They bring in the traffic. That extra fees that you are paying is so that you can sit back and concentrate on growing your business, whilst you're letting customers find you on a massive marketplace platform. You know, the fees are broken down into different areas. One of them is the payment processing fee. This is what you would end up having to pay out on your own website anyway, because it goes straight to the payment provider, and that's a fee that you just can't avoid. They then charge 5% transaction fee, which is actually pretty reasonable, and cheaper than some other platforms. So it's not that bad, but I can see why, you know, when you make a sale and you think, oh my gosh, Etsy have taken this big chunk out, it does seem as a bad thing. But yeah, you just got to make sure your prices reflect the fees, and yeah, it's actually not bad when you think about it. Okay, now on to the pros of being an Etsy seller, and the first one I kind of touched a little bit with the fees, and that is that it is a huge marketplace platform where you know, buyers even are drawn to Etsy. They love going on Etsy because they trust it, so you are more likely to be seen. I actually don't post to social media as much as I used to. It hasn't really affected the amount of sales. I know that I can just put products up on Etsy, work on other stuff in the background, which things like, you know, concentrating on more products, sorting out my own website because I am actually quite behind in updating it, as well as a few other things that I'm sort of learning more and more about my own business, whilst just letting the orders come in from buyers who are just finding me and not having to sort of hunt for every single sale. So that is absolutely fantastic that, you know, that the platform is there for you. Yes, you do have to work hard with it. You can't just put a product up and hope for the best. You do have to make sure you've got nice, clear photos, a description that's sort of not going to put people off because they're going, oh, actually, I don't know what it is that I'm getting if I buy this item. You want to do your keyword research so that you are more likely to be higher in the search results. So there are, you know, it does take work, but when it clicks into place, it's fantastic. Every single, you know, cha-ching that I get that comes through when an order's being placed is still amazing. Even now, over a year later, I love every single one. In fact, I think it was today, at the time I filmed this, exactly 1 year ago, that I had my first international order, and I was bouncing across the ceilings. It was to the state of Florida, which is actually one of my favourite holiday destinations. So the fact that my first international one was to there was just absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I do love Etsy for things like that. I also have to say it's actually fairly easy to navigate around Etsy, and I say that because I had a stab at eBay and also a site called Made Me, which I think might just be in the UK. And for listing products, I found Etsy so much easier to use. Made Me was quite complicated in getting up variations that I wanted for my products. eBay, I had really big issues with variations, and then I wanted to change it, but you can't apparently. I had to redo a whole new listing. I'm sure that's something that's, you know, if you keep at it, it gets easier to use. But Etsy, I think, really nice and clear. I love the fact that you've got your stats, so it can show you what search terms people have used to find your products, which is great for keyword research, as well as being able to see, you know, what are people searching for. You have all your information with your finances, and I know the spreadsheet, it can be quite confusing to a lot of people. It does take a while to get your head around it, and I come from a financial background, but I do like it. I do think it's quite informative. I just use filters to help see everything, and I think it also helps if you record your finances monthly. Don't leave it to the end of the year when you're doing your tax return. If you look at it month on month, it's just much easier to work through. So yeah, in terms of using it, I would say that is a huge pro, that I do like Etsy for that. So another thing that I like using with Etsy, and this is on the actual website, not the app. I do have to say that the app misses out a lot of features, although it is great to use for an overview. And of course, if you have the app, then you get the cha-ching when the order comes through. But the website itself, it's definitely got more features on there. Excuse me. And one of the things that I like about it is when you've got quite a few orders, you can create almost like tabs or folders, whatever you want to call it, and label it whatever you want. And it means that you can move some orders through there if you've got different processes. So everyone can do this separately. I have it when I pack up an order, I move it into a packed section, so it moves it out of the way so that I can then see a list of what I've got left. And I even go further. Once I've labelled it, I have a labelled section, because some of my labels I do via Etsy, some I do via Royal Mail. So it's quite handy to have those categories. And then of course, once I mark it as dispatch, it will go into the completed section. But you could have things like if you're waiting for a customer to come back to you about a certain query, you can create a section called like under query or whatever you want, and you can move it in there so you know that that's still to be done, but you can get on with the rest that's on your list. So I do love it for that. So yeah, overall, Etsy is a great platform. If you've got the right product to suit Etsy and you're willing to put in the hard work, you know, to turn what you have into an actual business, you know, where you're wanting to, you know, make a living off of it, to maybe leave your job, or you're just needing the extra bit of cash, or you're doing it for fun. It's a fantastic platform that I do recommend to others. You've got to get your head around a few things. Yes, there is some flaws, and I know people can complain about things quite a bit, but overall, honestly, I love it. I'm not planning on leaving anytime soon. I hope to be there for the long haul. I would like to grow my own website a lot more. Getting that seen and out there is a lot harder than being on Etsy, but it's nice having the two together, because I am putting blogs on my own website, which I do like, and people are viewing them, which is lovely. But yeah, so those are my thoughts on that. What do you have on your thoughts with Etsy? Do put it in the comment down below. Do subscribe to my channel, because I do talk about other business related topics for the videos that I've got on here, as well as other bits. So I do sort of specialise with mental health and autism, because I am autistic. So I have sort of my lived experience with that, as well as combining that with a business. So I have videos on running a business as an autistic person. I've got running a business on low income, because these are things that are sort of very big with my own life at the moment. So yeah, do hit the thumbs up for this video, and thank you very much for watching.